The Niners just got multiple great reports, and it lifts the 49ers as they head into what I think is a massive game against the Arizona Cardinals. This feels like a must-win game. This next 4-game stretch feels like a 3 out of 4 game stretch. You got to win at least 3 of these if you want to have a shot at the playoffs. If you lose 2 of these next 4 games, everything is very uphill for you. So it feels like a massive game for me. Brock Purdy coming back, Ricky Pearsall coming back, lots of details to uncover. We're going to talk about the multiple great reports the 49ers got, and we're going to tie it all up with how this sets the 49ers up against the Arizona Cardinals and the stretch run, which is not too far away now. Hit subscribe if you're looking for 49ers content. Appreciate you guys so much for hitting that sub button. It really does help me out, helps out the YouTube algorithm, all that good stuff. Let's jump into the question, though, that we open up the show with. The 49ers maintain team control over their very competent backup quarterback, Mac Jones. Kyle has said that they have no interest in trading him right now, and that makes perfect sense to me this season. However, Ian Rappaport then came out yesterday and said that the 49ers will have plenty of teams interested in trading for Mac Jones this off season. And so the question that I have for you, and let me know in the comments what you think, is, should Mac Jones be on the trade block? I think I wrote is Mac Jones. Like, he's not currently on the trade block. We know that. Like, at this exact minute, he's not. And you can't trade for him anyways, so it doesn't matter. The better way to ask this is, should Mac Jones be on the trade block the day the season ends? Like, should he be one of those trade candidates for the 49ers, or should the 49ers be thinking about what they can do with Mac Jones? Here is a small clip of what Ian Rappaport had to say about Mac Jones.
Yeah, the Mac Jones situation was really a fascinating part of this. You know, Kyle Shanahan being very, very clear. There is no quarterback controversy. He has full confidence that Brock Purdy can be the guy when fully healthy. I don't know if he's fully healthy now, but certainly as healthy as he has been in quite a while. But what Mac Jones did for himself this year and for the 49ers was reestablish himself as a starting quarterback that can win games. And
reestablish himself as a starting quarterback that can win games. And that is enough in the NFL. That is enough to get a lot of teams interested in making a move for you. Now, of course, there are going to be plenty of teams. I don't even need, like, that's an off-season conversation to go into the nitty-gritty details on what teams might be interested in and all of that kind of stuff. There's still several games left to play, so we're not going to jump to those conclusions. What I'm interested from your perspective is, right now, knowing everything you know at this exact moment, knowing the realities of what could happen even tomorrow on the field, what would you do right now as you're planning and thinking about Mac Jones? Because I think there's an opportunity to do something. I saw somebody post, I think it was Dante Atkinson, said, like, you could either set a minimum bar, say you have to hit a second-round draft pick plus a future third or a future fourth or a future fifth, whatever, or we're just going to re-sign him. And we're gonna extend his contract this offseason and say we really like him. Obviously, there's a lot of information that's dependent upon. You put a lot of money into your star quarterback. I don't think I think the money that a quarterback is gonna get paid in this league. We saw it with Sam Darnold, who played better. Who played better than what we've seen out of Mac Jones so far? I'll give him credit for that. But we saw with Sam Darnold that you can make a lot of money by being a quarterback that fits a system well, that has proven they can do something, and teams will take a chance on you, right? They'll put good money in. I don't think the 49ers are going to have an opportunity to re-sign Mac Jones or extend his contract as a backup. I think he's shown that he's capable of being a starter. I think he wants to be a starter. Now, that'll be up to Mac Jones a little bit too on how, like, what he expects out of that trade, and then what the 49ers can recoup from that trade. I'm sure that they'll be thoughtful enough to what Mac Jones wants. They're not going to keep a guy around who desperately wants to be a first stringer, and could get decent draft capital for him. So for me, and I promise this does make sense to the rest of the reports, I think what the 49ers take away from this is they've got a wonderful situation on their hands. They have a very competent backup quarterback. You have a game coming up right now. The last time Brock Purdy played, he walked out of the game, re-aggravated his toe. That could happen again, and at this point, it's the season. If Brock Purdy re-aggravates his toe injury, it's very likely the end of the season for Brock Purdy, and Mac Jones becomes your starter for the remainder of the season, most likely. I'm telling you that because I think that the way that this toe injury and how this all plays out, I think the Niners are looking back now, wondering if they'd have been better off. I know that they're telling you this isn't the case, but I wonder if they're thinking maybe we should have just done a surgery. I don't know. Like, I'm not a doctor, so you're going to have to ask, like, Dr. Pandya on that one or something. But I think the 49ers, if this gets re-aggravated again, are going to be looking at either shut him down for the entire season, give him a huge chunk in the offseason, or they're going to say, get this guy surgery and get him the right recovery that he needs so that we're confident this is all going to go the right way. So is Mac Jones on the block at the end of this season? For me, I would say it completely depends, of course, on Brock Purdy and what he does the rest of the season, but my gut is he's going to be trade capital. The 49ers are in a position where if they can get a second-round pick in the upcoming draft, plus a future third, fourth, whatever, like that's a massive, massive value add, and that makes you feel really good about signing to that 2-year deal. But, I love Mac Jones, and I'd love to see him around. Obviously, he's a great backup quarterback. All right. A key piece returns in Ricky Pearsall. We've talked about that. I thought it was really interesting as we're thinking about this game here and what the 49ers need to do to win, to be successful. You've got this guy in Ricky Pearsall coming back, and in some ways lifts your team more than Brock Purdy does lift you over Mac Jones, because you have not had several great targets on the field at the same time. You're going to get Ricky Pearsall, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, all on the field at the same time with their starting quarterback, Brock Purdy. That is a huge opportunity that we have not had this season. Here's what Kyle Shanahan said about how important it is for Ricky Pearsall to be back.
Ricky, the way Ricky was playing before he got hurt, he was playing like a true number one receiver in this league, really playing like the guy that we wanted to draft. He had an unbelievable offseason, unbelievable start to this season. I think the hardest thing with losing Ricky was he was really the only receiver, too, that we got an offseason with. He was the only one who we had throughout training camp, with JJ not doing training camp and then JJ getting hurt after. And when Ricky went down, it was really tough because we were having guys with KB, Sky, even D-Rob being out that month, guys that really hadn't been practicing with us for a while. So that was a huge challenge for us, especially with Mac coming in. That's what was one of the other things that was so impressive with Mac. But all these guys getting so much better while Ricky's been out. And then be able to bring back Ricky, who, even though it's his only second year, he's quickly become our veteran, who's had the most reps with us and stuff. So huge to get him back for the talent, the guy, and excited he's coming back with Brock, too.
Yeah, we're talking about guys.
And he gives you something different. He gives you something different than what you get out of Juwan Jennings. Not to throw shade on Juwan Jennings, but Ricky Pearsall is a different receiver. He's such a clean route runner, and he does have some afterburners that I think people underrate. He does have the ability to make some big game catches. We've seen it already this season several times on the sidelines, both feet down, through contact. The guy is an incredible wide receiver, and we need him to be a number one. He was a first-round draft pick the first time the Niners had a first-rounder in several years, and they put their capital in Ricky Pearsall, and he's the only first-rounder. Is he the only first-rounder on the field for the 49ers offense? Yeah, well, okay, close. But anyway, the point that I'm getting at, I want to get off track here. The point that I'm getting at is Ricky Pearsall is an important piece to this team, and you're going to need him going forward, and you need him to be healthy. My goodness, you need him to be healthy. Now, interestingly, George Kittle, I'll throw him up on the screen there. George Kittle, as you guys know, has talked about the 49ers offense needing to pick up the slack. Ricky Pearsall's coming back. Brock Purdy's coming back. We got to pick up the slack, make up for this injured defense. Matt Mayoko for NBC Sports Bay Area asked Kyle Shanahan, how do you feel about this idea of the 49ers offense needing to pick up the slack? Here's what Kyle Shanahan said. But first, you know this better than anybody. Touchdowns change everything. One play, the whole game flips. And if you're watching football this season, why not feel like every single down is 4th and goal? I've teamed up with my partners over at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official place to go when you want to live bet and make every single touchdown count. DraftKings makes live betting simple and exciting. The odds move with the game, so when momentum swings, you're right there with it. You can even bet on the next touchdown happening right now. Whether it's a high-scoring shootout or a defensive slugfest, DraftKings has more live markets open more often than anywhere else. And you don't have to wait for kickoff. You can jump in mid-game and still catch incredible touchdown odds as they update in real time. So get in on the action and sign up using my promo code STSF. The crown is yours. Thank you so much to DraftKings Sportsbook for sponsoring this video.
I understand that question and why people say that, but it's always hard for me to answer because I've never in my life asked an offensive player or any player like, hey, you got to pick up the slack because this side of the ball is down or anything like that. I understand it because we have a lot more guys in offense who have done it before, where there's a lot more guys who haven't on defense. But our expectations every single week is to do the best you possibly can and nothing else. So for me to say that you need more in that would kind of contradict how I look at them every other day. So not something I talk about, but I understand the question, and we got to play at a high level, and I think we're capable of doing that.
And the expectation for every single individual player to go out there and do their job. I love that. I love that mentality. I mean, you cannot say, for example, you cannot say we're a next man up. We have a next man up mentality if you don't also hold that next man up to a higher standard. So that means that guys like D. Winters are going to continue to get these opportunities this season, and this is his shot. This is his shot to prove he can be great. We saw him at the beginning of the season be great. Now we need to see him be consistent. We know he's capable of it. Now we need to see him continue it. That's what I'd like to see out of a guy like D. Winters, for example. Tatum Bethune, you're getting to see something out of Tatum Bethune we probably never would have seen. I mean, you look at the number of years that we had, 7 years? Is it 8 years that we had Fred Warner basically go without an injury, like pretty much just play almost every single snap. So you're getting to see something in your mic backup that you haven't got a chance to see. That's really helpful. That's really useful. We can use that going forward. And he's still young, so that's great too. So it's good. There's some huge benefit here if Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan can figure out how to get these young players to play up another level on defense, just another notch. It could be great. It could be great. On paper, it looks like exactly what George Kittle said, where you got to pick up the slack because that's where all of the strength on your team lies right now. If you were to put all the players on a scale, the offensive scale is much, much higher than the defensive scale right now in terms of talent, in terms of name recognition, in terms of money, in terms of all of it, right? But the flip side is also the truth that you need both teams to go out. Like, you cannot play in the NFL without a defense that can at least get, a few stops here and there. You need them to get a few stops here and there. And you need to, for me, and I'm going to let Kyle Shanahan answer this question too in a second. For me, the rest of the season defensively comes down to, can you be a bend but don't break defense? We started the season off able to be a bend but don't break kind of defense, right? They might get some yardage on you. You might give up a big play here and there, but when it condenses the field and you get into the red zone, you stop them from scoring touchdowns. That's what I want to see the 49ers get back to. I know that that's easier said than done. There's a lot more that goes into that. There's third down stops. There's a lot of other stuff. There's stop the run versus in the air and all of that, right? Like, if I were to simplify it down to one thing, that's what I'd like to see the 49ers defense figure out how to do. Figure out how to hold guys to field goals. They're going to get some chunk yardage here and there. They're going to move the ball on you here and there because your defense is depleted and you're doing a lot. You're putting a lot of rookies out there and a lot of young players out there trying to figure things out. But can you stop them in the biggest moments of the game? We've seen that Alfred Collins, for example, can stop them in the biggest moments of the game. Can you who else was the other one? I think, was it Deommodore Lenoir, I think, who had the 4th and 1 stop? That was a big one, obviously. But the flip side, or the reality, is that the 49ers also need to find a way to hold them to field goals, 15 yards out, 20 yards out, 25 yards out. So they do have to get some third down stops. That's going to be an important thing. Here's what Kyle Shanahan had to say about what the goal is for the 49ers heading into this game.
I think the first thing is we got to stop the run. I mean, they do a good job balancing it out. I mean, they never get too one-dimensional in the run or the pass. So we have to stop the run, get them in some third and longs. This last month, I want to say they're like third in the league in explosives. So they've been going down the field a lot more lately. Jacoby's been doing a good job of it, giving some shots. They're running the ball well. They get their explosives, so that's where it's got to stop. And then hopefully we get some turnovers. That's something that we're missing this year. We need to find a way to create those, do better not doing them on offense, and try to steal some more possessions.
How do you go about that? How do you try?
I'll pause there, and I'll just throw this out there because we're running on time here. You're one day away from the Arizona Cardinals. You're going into their house. Whatever. Who cares whose house it is? Doesn't matter at this point. The bottom line is this. There's no easy game in the NFL, and there's no easy game in division, right? So you put those two things together, and you look at it, and you're like, yeah, hey, it works in our favor that Jacoby Brissett's playing, I guess, right? It definitely helps you from a defensive scheme point of view, I think. He's slightly more efficient than Kyler Murray, but he's also much less of a threat on the ground. So I would say that's a wash, if not favor of working to the 49ers' advantage with Jacoby Brissett. On top of that, though, you have to find a way to win this game. You got to grind it out. I do not anticipate. Let me know what your score prediction is if you want in the comments, but I don't anticipate this being a blowout win. It can be. It absolutely can be. If the 49ers go out there and have 2 or 3 really good drives right out the gate and manage to get a stop here or there, then it can absolutely become a blowout. But I don't think what just happened to the Cardinals against the Seahawks, I don't see that happening for the 49ers. Like, I don't see the takeaways that the Seahawks got happening for the 49ers. That's not been our MO this season. So for me, I think it's as simple as you got to play tight, concise, complementary football. You need your special teams, you need your defense, you need your offense to all produce. And when given opportunities, make smart decisions. Right? I love that Brock Purdy wants to push the ball downfield now and then. Just don't fall into the trap that Russell Wilson fell into the last few years of his career, where all of a sudden now you're almost kind of doing it just to do it. Like, you're doing it because you think you got to be the hero. Like, don't be afraid to take the check down. Don't be afraid to carry the possession, because this team, if you want to give your defense a chance to be successful, you got to stay on the field on offense. You got to have long, sustained drives, which we talked about last week. Even when the 49ers did have the ball against the Rams, when they did move the ball and get some first downs, they sustained really nice, long, what would be it? Like seconds per play or whatever, right? Like they would run the clock really, really well when they're moving the ball. So, yeah, that for me is the big thing. But I look forward to seeing what you guys think in the comments. As always, it's Saturday. It's a great Saturday. I hope you have a restful, fun Saturday. And I hope that tomorrow we're all cheering for the 49ers after they win. Let's go.